Today we are going to be ranking all launch Black Ops 6 maps from worst to best. Here we go. The worst map in the game is easily Lowtown. Every time I start this map, I just look off into the distance at Skyline, and I'm just wishing I was on this map. My first issue with this is there is just this water section right here is just so utterly pointless. You know, it's clearly ripped from Warzone, this entire map. We've got so many pointless areas, like this area that you can go into, you've got that area over there that you could go into, and like this place, this area is just so awkward. The only good section of the map is literally inside this completely destroyed building, and then this little square right here. It's a decent section, and it is the only good section of the entire map, in my opinion. But as soon as you go through the house, the entire map just completely falls apart. This was clearly made to make up the numbers, to be quite honest. This whole area is kind of pointless as well. This is an easy 1 out of 5 for me. Just the worst map, maybe in Black Ops history. Awful. Next up is Protocol, and honestly, I don't have much more positive feelings for this one. It's marginally better than Lowtown, and my main issue with it is that there's just so many windows, there's so many doors. It honestly just feels like a Modern Warfare map, which isn't a good thing, and I'm talking modern Warfare. And also, why is there less windows on this side than the other side? There's clearly an advantage to being on one side than the other. And the same goes towards this area as well. There's a clear advantage to being up there than down here, to be quite honest. And like, what is the issue? What's the point in this area as well? Like, what's the point? I don't see. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a good sight line to that area down there and this area up here, but like, you're not going to be able to get here without being shot on the way there. So yeah, easy 1 out of 5 again for me. Red Card kicks off our 2 out of 5 section. I saw a very funny comment when the game first came out about whichever developer came up with this map, Red Card, needs to be red carded for that. And it's a shame, because I really do, I view this as a bit of a work of art. This looks really, really nice. It is a football stadium, or if you're American, a soccer stadium. And to be honest, when you first get into it, it's quite nice. You know, you've got equal high grounds and low grounds. It's quite a nice map. But as we progress through the map, we get out into the football pitch section, and it's just, there's some awkward sight lines. There's a clear advantage to being on one side over the other, and even on that advantageous side, there's a bunch of pointless rooms. I just feel like it's a bit of an awkward map, and that's why a lot of people don't like it. However, easily better than Lowtown and Protocol, in my opinion, which is why it's not a 1, and it also looks spectacular as well, so an easy 2 for me. Next up is Vault, which is one of the maps ripped from the campaign, or based on a mission from the campaign, and immediately my issue would be this particular building right here for when you spawn on this side. It is clearly a huge advantage over being on the other side. You've got easy aiming towards the entrance of the palace right there, and there's no real easy way to combat that other than being down there. Of course, you've got this window to flank it, but it's so small, and the only thing that anybody up here would really have to do is step away. I just think it's really kind of useless. And then when we go to the other side, it's actually a lot better for me. There's you know, much less of an advantage being on the other side, and I quite like how we can aim down underneath this underneath like this building's arch sort of thing, and there's a part of the map on the other side which does the exact same thing as well. I quite like that. However, the indoor area, I know Call of Duty has been accused of using AI to make these maps, which I think is kind of ridiculous, but if that was to be the case, if that was true, Vault is going to be the first map for me that comes to mind, at least the inside area of this map. There is one entire side of the indoor that is clearly advantageous over the other, and that is the part with like the wall and stuff, and there's much better cover, whereas the other side has barely any cover. You have this underground area that barely anybody uses, although it can be pretty good. You know, it does remind me of Hijacked in a way, and of course that underground area in Skyline as well, or at least like the part that goes under the map, of course, which is good. But in Volt, it just doesn't really get used. Nobody ever uses it. You'll hardly ever get any kills down here, and no amount of diving board animation is going to save this map from another 2. Next up is Gala, and yeah, this isn't a surprise to a lot of people who have been tuning in since we started playing. I have made it no secret that I do not like Gala. This is, of course, a face-off map, and face-off maps are meant to be like really confined, close quarters. That's what I got used to in Black Ops Cold War. That's what we're, you know, receiving a lot here in Black Ops 6. However, Gala is a very, very open map. And so what you'll end up doing is you'll be getting shot from pretty much all over the place. And it's a shame, because this is based on a campaign mission, which is probably the best campaign mission in the entire game. And again, it is a shame, and it's a 2 out of 5. I mean, it's gotten a little better over time as I've gotten more used to it, but yeah, it doesn't change the fact that I do not enjoy it when I do it, and apparently the community shares that sentiment as well, as this is the least played face-off map. So yeah, 2 out of 5. Our next and final entry to our 2 out of 5s is, surprisingly to a lot of people probably, Rewind. Now, this is the best out of the 2 out of 5, so it's not crazy bad. However, I just don't really like just all the amount of buildings. Like, the fast forward area, like this area, is great, but the buildings around it I don't really like. We've got a little diner on the other side of the map, but as I complained about in the beta, domination just seems to cut that point off, and domination games end up becoming really, really predictable when it comes to Rewind. It's probably the most predictable domination map I've ever played. But this area, this area is pretty good. It's a lot like Red Card in that regard, where you know, it has that one section of the map that plays really good, but you know, Rewind has that other side of the map as well with the diner, which doesn't get used in domination, which is also pretty good when it is used. So that's really the big difference between Red Card and Rewind for me. Like, it's not an overly bad map, but for me it's just below average. I don't really have many strong feelings towards it besides the domination argument. That's really about it. 2 out of 5. Kicking off our average 3 out of 5 section is the map Payback, which visually I really like. It's based off of the KGB safe house in the campaign, and yeah, immediately we have these sight lines here, 2 sight lines, very, very standard, quite nice. We have this little area here, which is obviously the briefing room of the safe house, the main room, and a little bit of a safe room, to be honest. I very, very, very rarely run into anybody through there. We got this little garden sort of area, which also links into the enemy spawn area, or well, the Crimson 1 spawn area. This barn is a little pointless. Barely anybody really goes in it, to be quite honest. And then, you know, it's a good thing they cut off that area as well. But a nice little Easter egg here. You see a lot of dead bodies here. These are Pantheon dead bodies from the final mission of the game, which, you know, I quite like that little thing there. And of course, this wall that broke down at some point during the campaign is still there as well. This area has changed a little bit from the campaign. It's not an exact one-to-one remake of the safe house, but man, this upstairs area is a total power position. Not so much this area. I quite like it. It's very well made there, especially with the sight lines. But yeah, this area, not used too much. This area right here is the most annoying spot here. You're going to always have one dude who will be camped up here and will get so many kills from this area, because, I mean, he is so protected up there. You know, you have to make sure your aim is true, whereas he could just be shooting you as you come round the corner, you know? Before you even get the chance to aim at him, he's going to kill you. So I don't like that area at all. It's a really bad area. However, I do like this area as well. These have some pretty good sight lines, to be quite honest. And if it wasn't for that really campy position indoors, I'd honestly give this a 4, to be honest. So there's your little clue. There ain't going to be too many 3 out of 5s there. But, you know, there are maps that are better than this. So 3 out of 5, it's an average map. I don't have any issues with it being in the game. Our next map is Scud, and listen, I'll put my hands up here. I was wrong about this map. I hated this map in the beta. Every time it came up in rotation, I audibly groaned. Like, I really did not like Scud, but the more I played it, the more I got used to it, and now when I play it, I don't really mind it. I'm quite fine with it. However, my issue with this stems sort of the same issue as Payback, where there's this one power position in the map. Not as bad as that thing in Payback, where if you get that position, you're just going to be getting a ton of kills. But over there at the satellite dish is a very big advantageous position compared to the sight line in front of it. And the reason this goes in front of Payback for me is because, yes, there is a way to fight back against this. But if this person is crouched, they are going to have a much better sight line compared to the guy who is, you know, crouched at the other side, because their body is still quite seeable from that location. If we go over here, and I can show you it, of course. So here we are at this location, and we crouch. Clearly, there is a lot more of our body on show over here than at the satellite. So there is a clear advantage over spawning on one side over the other. And for me, it's not a huge issue in a COD game. You know, that's just, it's a thing that you have to deal with in every COD game. However, it's something that I still dock points for compared to other parts of the map. This trench area is kind of pointless as well. But there's a nice sight line into the building from there. It works quite fine. It is just a fine map in general. So personally, this is a 3 out of 5. Kicking off our 4 out of 5 section, so this is the good section, is Derelict. I quite like this one. Immediately, we've got a pretty good Nuketown style sightline there. You know, very much like Nuketown. However, you get a bit more of an advantage while being over here. Not by much, though. It's not a big deal. And then you've got a sight line here, which again, people can come around the corner. You got a little bit of cover with the rocks there as well. And as we go around for the enemy spawn, it just seems like a pretty good Call of Duty map. The sight lines are quite equal here and there, other than, you know, a little bit when it comes to the one I spoke about earlier. However, there is just one issue with this map that for me puts it as the weakest 4 out of 5 map, and that is this section right here. This section is a lot more narrow here, so it's a lot more easier for people to hit you when you're at that area than when you are at this area. And obviously when you are at that area, you're going to have to be dealing with 2 lanes of people as well, as there are 2 different avenues that people can come and run down towards you. However, there's you know, when there's only one avenue, people are going to run through when going towards that section. For me, that's really the only real issue with Derelict. It's a pretty fine, pretty good map. It was probably one of my favorites to play in the beta besides the face-off maps. So, yeah, easy 4 out of 5 for me. Next up is Warhead, which is a little controversial decision. There are people that vehemently hate this map, but I gotta be real, guys. I love Warhead, and honestly, I really did want to give it a 5 out of 5. It honestly would be perfect. However, there are some serious sightline issues on this map. I don't know what the term head glitches is, but if it means what I think it is, then yeah, that's exactly why Warhead is a 4 and not a perfect 5. And that is mainly because one side is clearly not only extremely advantageous compared to the other, but this garage roof, man, oh my god, the amount of times I have been killed from a guy camping prone on there is ludicrous, and the amount of times I've been able to kill somebody who was camping up there is rare. It's really rare. It is genuinely awful. I honestly hate it, and for me, it docks an entire point. It ruins some matches, you know? So for me, even though I absolutely love the fact that it's based on a nuke town after it has been nuked, I think it's about time that we got something like that. It just, yeah, it has to be a 4 out of 5 because it genuinely has a real issue, and it would be really nice of Treyarch if they could modify this garage roof in a way that we don't have issues with it anymore. So again, Warhead, 4 out of 5. And finally, our last good map before we get into the great ones is Vorkuta, based on the location, the prison camp from Black Ops 1, of course, and more so largely based on the mission Under the Radar from the Black Ops 6 campaign. I really like this map, man, especially since it's covered in snow as well. It really stands out compared to the other maps. This section is really good. A lot of kills will happen in this area. It's a pretty good area from either side, to be honest, although I think there is a little bit more of an advantage on the other side. However, this section, you can get some really cool kills when viewing to the left as well, but to the right there's this big snow hill that unfortunately it leaves you at a bit of a disadvantage coming out of that. Honestly though, I don't really have much bad things to say about this map. It is very, very close to being a perfect 5 out of 5 for me, but I wouldn't want to give it a 5 out of 5 because if a map like WMD was in this game, wink wink, this map I'd probably forget about quite quickly. It just has aspects about it that really stands out, but for me, I have similar feelings towards it as I do towards Derelict. One really good thing about Vorkuta that I really do like is kind of this area right here, this little hut and this little ladder thing. A lot of people who camp up here will actually forget about this location. I have gotten some kills being on this ladder when people are running through this area, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, easy 4 out of 5 for me. It's a good map. So here we are with our 5 out of 5 great maps, perfect maps, whatever you want to say, and we're going to kick it off controversial with Babylon. I know this is very divisive, and trust me, that divisiveness is going to play into the discussion that we'll have at the end of the video. But I personally think this is a really well-made chaos map. Of course, this isn't a face-off map. This is a chaotic core map. And to be quite honest, this is Black Ops Shipment, essentially, but better than Shipment. There is a lot better cover spots, vantage points, etc. There's really not much more I can say about it. It is just an overall really good map, in my opinion. I remember actually dropping like 50 eliminations on this in the beta. I had it recorded, and I was running on about like 23 hours of no sleep, and so I accidentally deleted it when going through all my clips because I wanted to, save up some storage. And on Share Factory Studio, there's a My Projects section and a My Gallery section, and I wanted to clear up the Project section because that's just Share Factory Limited. Well, I accidentally went to the My Gallery section and ended up deleting that 50 kill Babylon game, and I was devastated. I was so devastated that I just called it quits right then and there and went to sleep. So nice little story for you there. Luckily I've dropped 50 kill games since then, so it's not something that happened once and never again. But I was definitely pretty gutted at the time. But once again, Babylon, 5 out of 5. I love this map. Next up is Subsonic. I love this map too. Very similar to Babylon. It is a chaos map in the core playlist. And honestly, the reason this goes over Babylon is there is it's sort of an evolving map. You have these really good sight lines once again here. However, I think there's a bit of an advantage over here in the more darker areas. And for me, this is a Modern Warfare graphics engine problem. Of course, Black Ops 6 is the first Black Ops game that has run on an Infinity Ward engine for the first time since Black Ops 2. So, yeah, with this particular engine, there is issues with camouflage, basically. You know, some people are just really difficult to see, and I think Subsonic is one of the few maps in this game that runs into that issue a lot. But that problem doesn't take away from the fact it is better than Babylon, mainly because it does evolve, and it evolves so much that it kind of changes how the game is played. And by evolve, I mean these revolving doors on either side that you can open. They close at the beginning of the map, and even when you do open them, I actually discovered while recording this that they actually end up closing on their own again. And when they're open, they provide completely different sight lines that you would have to contend with as well. And I think it's a really good show of a really good flow control from Treyarch here with the automatically shutting of them. So it just isn't completely chaotic and none of the players have to take matters into their own hands to kind of save the matchup or whatever. I just think it flows really well, especially when the doors are shut, but it's a nice little shake up here and there when it's actually closed. So yeah, Subsonic is easily, for me, a 5 out of 5 map. Next up is Skyline, and this was easily everybody's favourite map during the beta, and I'm probably not far off the truth when I say it's everybody's favourite map in Black Ops 6 now, besides Nuketown, of course, but it's everybody's favourite original map in Black Ops 6, and of course our first section that we looked at there, pretty 50-50 section for both sides. I think it's a lot more fun, well, actually no, to be fair. Both sides are equally as fun as each other, and we've even got this underground area that you can go, well, not underground, but a basement area that you can go through to kind of flank to the other side, not unlike Hijacked, and I think it's a lot better done here than it is on Vault as well. You've also got this section where a lot of snipers will go, but it doesn't feel unfair like Scud does with its satellite section. You are pretty much on equal footing on either side, to be quite honest. There's not really a huge big deal. This hallway, I landed a lot of kills during the beta, but as time has gone on, everybody's learned how to play Skyline, so you get a lot less kills there now. But I still made a lot of memories during the beta, of course. You've also got this computer over there that once activated, it actually takes down some shutters, so it can and it also puts a shutter on this door area as well, so that basically cuts off some access points and turns this into a little bit more of a safe area. And also there's the same thing with that computer rebooting the security in the basement ventilation area as well. So yeah, if you're on the opposing team, for example, and wanted to help your team get to that area, you could disable that security as well. Either way, it's just a really good map. There's not much else I can say. It is easily the best core map on this game. So yeah, Skyline, 5 out of 5. Next up is Pit, which is a face-off map. This was easily my personal favourite map to play in the beta. This is exactly how I would have imagined a face-off map in Black Ops 6 to be before entering it. Of course, it plays a lot like the maps in Cold War in that regard, and very reminiscent of maps like ICBM and I don't know what the underground train station map was called, but you know what I mean. Very reminiscent of those maps, and it just works absolutely perfectly. There is nothing for me to actually go into. It's just a perfectly mirrored map either way. It's like it's just really symmetric, very, very easy to understand, and yeah, once again, perfect face-off map. So Pit, easy, 5 out of 5. And the exact same thing can also be said for, of course, Stakeout. Everybody's favourite map, let's be real. This is so chaotic. Once again, perfect face-off map. Pretty much symmetrical as well, so once again, very extremely easy to understand. But the reason this goes over Pit is because this map is absolutely perfect for weapon camo grinding. Oh my god, which is why it's everybody's favourite map. And even if it wasn't, you're landing a lot of kills on here regardless of what happens. So it's always really an enjoyable game unless you're going after a specific objective. If you go into it just to get kills, headshots, blah, 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 easily the best map in the game, and easily the best original map in the game. Hopefully we get more maps like this. We have a new one coming in Season 1. Hopefully that's as good as this one, but there's a reason Stakeout got a 24/7 playlist, you know? Everybody likes it. This is the best map in Black Ops 6. 5 out of 5. Easy. And of course, Nuketown is the best map to play in this game because Nuketown is literally the perfect Call of Duty map. There's nothing more I can say on that. But we have a larger discussion at hand. There are 12 total properly core maps in this game. There are 10 if you take away Subsonic and Babylon, if you don't want to count the obviously chaotic maps. If you just want to count the medium-sized maps. 5 of those, which is Lowtown, Protocol, Red Card, Vault, and Rewind, are, in my opinion, objectively poor maps. Some of them just flat out bad, like Lowtown and Protocol. And then you've got another 2, Scud and Derelict, Scud and Payback, that to a lot of people can be quite forgettable. So when you have 7 maps that aren't in the good section, what does that leave you? That leaves you 3 good maps. Derelict, Vorkuta, and Skyline. That's horrendous. That is genuinely horrendous, and that is why people are discussing Black Ops 6's maps in a negative manner. And honestly, the movement, the gunplay, the multiplayer progression being so good literally carries this game. You know, the maps are just not good. If you put these maps, a lot of these maps, in a game like Black Ops Cold War, not good results, you know? It's only because it feels so new with the Omni movement. It's only because the gunplay was good in Cold War. So it's only because the multiplayer progression system is so good this year, and the prestige is back to the way it was and the way it should be, that a lot of people are letting it slide as one of the best Call of Duties in years. But it could be one of the best Call of Duties ever if it just had a better map selection. So time will tell over the course of the next year what maps will be added and how they will affect the game. I think we'll do a ranked each time we get new maps, I think, and we'll keep these scores in mind. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Black Ops 6 maps and how they affect the game as a whole. Again, time will tell if we'll get some really good maps over the course of the next year. If Modern Warfare 3 was anything to go by, we could be in for some pretty good live service this year. So I'm fingers crossed. We're hoping for the best. But yeah, that was every single map in Black Ops 6 before Season 1 ranked. Guys, if you liked it, be sure to hit that like button as hard as you possibly can. Comment, share, and subscribe. And for those of you who've been on the channel for a while, you might have noticed TJ is in this gameplay. That video is coming soon. So, yeah. I'll see you then. Peace.